Okay, people, it's the next day. We got Mr. Lace. I think my landlord is probably starting to feel pretty crummy. You know, I know this is not something that he wants to do. All right? Just hold on. I'm just trying to get Mr. Lace comfortable here. He said, why do you keep bringing me in the house? But, there we go.
Hi, honey. Kitty.
Don't fly off, Mr. Lace.
No flying in the house.
No flying in the house, Mr. Lace. Just look in the camera. So, I wanted to mention that I've basically been crying, people, since December 11th. Now he's going to want to fly off to the hens. Come here, boy.
Oh my.
That's okay. There we go. The hens are in the pen. I didn't let them out. He'll calm down. He's just like, oh, what's that? Another cat. But basically, I've been crying, people. Well, it started before December 11th, 2012.
Hey.
Okay.
You.
It actually started in 2003. Andre, please stay quiet. It actually started in 2003. Let's see if we can get Mr. Lace to just snuggle in. He likes to snuggle. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
This cat is like, what is that? Get out of here. There's the mummy cat. He likes to snuggle. See, I can't see now. I have to wear these glasses, people. I'm sorry. I gotta make sure Mr. Lace is in the camera. There we go. Bring him up a little higher.
Kitty.
Anyway. You're not really going anywhere. He's just uncomfortable. There we go. There. Now you're snuggled in. Calm down.
Yeah.
Okay. Calm down. There you go. Let's get back into that mode that we were in yesterday. Just snuggle in, Mr. Lace. Anyway. But the tears really started to come in November of 2012. Andre, please stay quiet. Okay? We talked about this. And then they started to rack up, you know, just accumulate from the frustration of what was going on with my oldest daughter.
Yeah.
Right? And her son, my little grandson. And then by December 5th, it was getting real crazy, people. Like, because they blindside you. These people that do this kind of stuff, they get you from over here and they get you from over there. And if they're not doing that, they're coming up from behind, right? Andre, please be quiet. So by December 11th, 2012, that's when the tears really started to come because everybody was in panic mode. None of us knew what to think. We never experienced things that were happening to us. And then by January 15th of 2013, when my grandson disappeared,
what is this cat? Isn't there a
she
cat?
wants to see the rooster. The new mummy cat says, what is that? Right, Mr. Lace? She wants to see. Come here. Come here, mummy cat. There's the mummy cat.
And I got the...
She knows it's something, but she hasn't been outside with it running around like my cats. If I had Mickey, I could put Mickey on this arm, right? It wouldn't matter. Probably same thing with Boots and Elsie. More Mickey, though. Even though Mickey's more the crab, Mickey's more tolerant, right? And she likes to compete for attention. So anyway, back to what I was saying. So by January, Andre, please just go play with the kitten for a few minutes, okay? We're just giving Mr. Lace some time here in front of the camera before he really disappears, right? Because I've been crying, people. I was crying. I cried myself to sleep last night. I did some more canning today because I'm at the tail end of the pears. I'm done with the pears. Yay. No more pears to can. I can't believe I canned all those pears. But I'm glad I did. And I got just a few more peaches, and then that's pretty much it. And then guess where I'm going out after I got a few little jars, maybe 7 or 8 little jars, you know, the salmon-sized jars, can of peaches. Andre, please be quiet, please. No, she doesn't like him, okay? Who is that?
It's just me.
Well, close the door and stay quiet, please. So anyway, after I'm done canning these peaches, guess where I'm going, people? I'm not going to go work on paperwork. I'm not going to go work on no lawsuit, whether it's the Supreme Court or the provincial court. I'm not going to work on the non-profit books. I'm not going to do anything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go outside and work in the yard for the next couple of weeks. Hardcore, straight. Right? So this out of control freaking governing body, watch the camera. You almost knocked it.
I know, I just want to kind of... Mr. Lace.
Can't hold my yard over my head, even though anyone with any common sense knows that I've been out there for 6 years trying to do something with it. And I haven't had any money to finish off what needed to be finished off this year. You know, $200, $300, maybe $400. That's not a lot of money when you think about the great grand scheme of things. But that $400 would have had a few things done around here. And it would have given some people some spending money that they desperately need, just like I desperately need some help with just a few things being built. Or finished being built. But that's not good enough for the city, right? Because they don't want to take responsibility for these out-of-control care awards where, you know, the public trustee is just sitting there picking and choosing who they want to milk for their assets. Throw the rest out on the streets and let some charity look after them. Right? Andre, and please be quiet. So, of course, I've been crying about all that, but the crying really started on January 15, 2013, when they came in and they pillaged my grandson. And then held his family hostage for 15 months. And then flipped the freaking script in court to avoid a trial. And then say, well, be grateful you got something, because it could have been worse.
Wait, we downstairs?
No, not right now.
Why not?
Because I said so.
And then, of course, crying over Uncle John. You guys, please be quiet. But that's not good enough for these people. They want you to cry like 24/7. That's why certain subgroups within our culture, like First Nations people and stuff like that. Andre, please be quiet. They drown their sorrows in alcohol. One, it's in the DNA because it was introduced to them back in the day when, you know, the Europeans were crossing over on the boat to take over the land, kill off indigenous population with their blankets and smallpox virus. And God knows what else they did. Syphilis. Took their kids away, you know, mistreated them, abused them. And they just converted it over to, this is the same. Cops, in those days, you know, the cops used to roll up with their boats, go on to, you know, these reserve, like they weren't even reserves, they were just living in their own, on their own land, these native people. And the freaking cops rolling up on their boats and grabbing children and throwing them in the boats and speeding off and throwing them at the residential freaking schools and foster care homes where the people weren't looking after the children properly and, you know, telling the parents that they're useless and they're no good, but here's a bottle. You know, drink. You'll feel better about yourself. And it's easy to go down that road when you're crying all the time. And just when you think you got a handle on something, it comes right back at you. You know, my kids are all upset. We're all upset. I'm crying. You know, like I don't like it's stupid. Mr. Lace, I'm sure, will be crying. He'll be like, you know, and here's another thing. Is the city going to guarantee that he's not going to be abused? Because my landlord's not keeping him. He's not allowed to keep him either. Nobody's allowed to keep chickens around here. And we're all too freaking chicken to stand up to the fucking city. So nothing changes. We just get bullied more and more and more and more. And the bullies, they just get stronger with their bully tactics. That's all. They get away with more shit. That's all. It's either, you're either with us or you're against us. You're either, your house is either fucking, what is that called? You know where they mark it? You know, what color is my house? Blue, red, or green? You know, what's my sign? Well, it must be at the bottom of the shit pile, for sure, ready going into a FEMA camp with those fences out there up by the homeless shelter, which is actually an emergency ward where there's no doctors or nurses on site. Just untrained, qualified, angry people that don't give a crap about those homeless people, mainly. I'm not saying each and every one of them, but their working conditions are no good, so they're certainly not happy campers. They're not happy workers. No, but how is the city going to guarantee that Mr. Lace isn't going to go to the next home and be abused and tossed out at 9:30 at night in the fog at 20 below weather to be coyote meat? Or what about maybe ending up in some chicken cockfight? I don't think that's going to happen, but it happens. You know? Or end up on a farm where he has to compete with a couple of more roosters and he ends up dead, because that's not his lifestyle. That's not the way he was raised. He was raised to be in his yard and be a watchdog. Right? To be a pet. Not fending off other roosters for territories of chickens. But you know, they don't care. They don't care if we sit here and worry about Uncle John. What happened? I got hurt. Well, gee, John, what happened? How did you get hurt? Because when the kids went to go see you at the hospital on April 2nd, you said that everything was fine. You said that you could have lived in the Victoria General Hospital. That's how nice you were being treated. But as soon as they, Andre, be quiet. But as soon as they released you from there, and you got to your next location, which was your sister's house, all of a sudden in the space of, what, a month, you get hurt? Which means you got an injury and your memory has gotten worse. And if it hasn't, you're too afraid to speak out because you might get hurt again. Well, you got professional people sitting up there saying, well, don't worry, he's safe. We won't acknowledge the fact that he's been hurt. We won't acknowledge the fact that something happened to his brain in a very small window of period of time. We won't ignore. We're not going to acknowledge the fact that your family has been totally decimated, disrespected, slandered all across fucking province and country and the United States, because they don't acknowledge the nonprofit. Because if they had to acknowledge the nonprofit and what it actually stood and represented, they'd have to have some morality about themselves, and these people just don't have morality. They don't. I mean, how can you be crying year after year after year because people that make good money, have good lives, have security, get the best health care, get the best dental care, get the best eye care, get to go on vacations. If they get crippled, they get to go on long-term disability and be treated like a fucking king or a queen or whatever it is. You know? And I'm crying. My kids are crying. John was crying, but they took John away from that. And they put styrofoam in his brain so he would forget. So he stopped crying. Right? But the rest of us, they just left us to wallow in it. And they don't care who they hurt. Mr. Lace gets hurt. They don't care. You know? He could end up wherever he ends up within 2 days, be dead. I'll phone up my landlord. How's the rooster? Oh, he's dead. Oh, what happened? I don't know, he got run over by a car. Or a dog got him. A dog got him. Or he got into a rooster fight on the farm. You know, jumped off the barn and broke his leg. Who knows? Or maybe the guy's an asshole and just beat the chicken to death. Because he has no respect for chickens. Because normally people see them as a... Sorry, Mr. Dace. Normally people see them as a food source. That's all. They just see him as a food source. Nothing but a food source. Just a factory animal. Something to farm. You know, something to abuse and beat. And then sell you, the consumer, the rotten meat. Because when you go to the grocery store and you're buying all this meat, I can guarantee it, somewhere in there, something is rotten. Got contaminated somewhere along the way. And was probably beat before it died. That's how we treat animals. And that's how we're starting to treat humans. And if you can't see that by watching my videos, because you want to sit up there and say, well, you're a whiner, you're a complainer, you know, it's you against the world. And I feel real strong because I can type a 2-sentence fucking, you know, 2-word sentence. Oh, I'm sorry. You can put 20 words together and create a sentence, or 2 sentences with 20 words. And somehow that makes you right. Because you want to be ignorant to the fact of how people that are blessed are treating those that have less. Because it's the ones that are blessed, that have the nice houses, have the nice cars, have the nice income, have security, their kids can go to school, right? They never go hungry, right? They can go fly off here and fly off there. You know, they can point their fingers and dictate this and dictate that. They can get awards for injecting people with God knows what and never really have to explain what it is. You know, that kind of stuff, right? Well, we cry. We get treated like an animal. And sometimes even worse.
Yeah, I'm going to miss Mr. Lace.
I know you're going to miss Mr. Lace. We're all going to miss Mr. Lace. But that's the agenda.
Yeah.
That's the agenda. They want us to be in mourning. They want us to mourn Uncle John. They wanted us to mourn Andre. They wanted us to mourn my daughter in her sickness. They wanted us to mourn Mr. Lace. Right? When we lose the house, that's just another thing to mourn. That's just another thing to prop themselves up.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
To maintain the status quo. Right? And Mr. Lace, obviously, like I said, there's no one there to fight for him. Only me. At this point in life. Only me. And we know that I'm being sabotaged left, right, and center. Have been for a very long time. Right?
How's the feather?
Well, people gloat with that. They treat my life like it's one of those games on the computer where cops are running around shooting at everything that moves, or you know, you got these ghouls. And Andre, can you stop that? Because you're gonna accidentally hit it. Okay.
How's the feather?
And it's just total annihilation of whatever it is the target is in those computer games. Right? No sense of law and order. You know, no ethical. There's no ethical. You know, the rules are open. There's no code of ethics. There's no morality. There's no compassion. There's no sympathy. There's no empathy. Right? There's nothing. It's built on hate and greed and death.
Oh, come on, Mr. Lace.
Right? Destruction. This is just another chip on that destruction block. And I'm sick, people. And when the shit hits the fan, well, I'd like to think that my kids will upload it and let you know that the shit hit the fan. Okay? Only reason I don't let it get to me is because I take... Andre, turn it down, please. Andre, turn it down, please. I take being a parent seriously. Now, maybe I can't give my kids money to go to school and all those other things, but John and I, like I said before, we had made the decision after Joan died and wasn't no longer coming back into this household to stay put and get the ones that are in college or going into college through that time frame, just so that they would have a fighting chance. Andre, turn it down.
Well, how?
Don't distract me right now.
Look, the cat.
Okay?
Look, the cat.
And because I looked after him for so long, and my whole world centered around his needs and the kids' needs, and then when Joan moved in, her needs, even though she antagonized me and picked fights, and I'm pretty sure she videotaped them with her cell phone so that she could send it to Victoria and cry on about, look how she talks to John. Look how she talks to me. But where were they when her body fluids were spilling out of her gut with her feeding tube? Where were they with her pee bucket? Where were they cleaning her room with sand from one end and reeds and cat food that she used to lay in bed? Andre, please. And just throw it around the room. So that when I would have to go in there, it would take me 2 days to clean it up. From one, and it would be all along the baseboards, cat food, reeds that she'd get from outside, sand. I swear, she laid in bed and she just threw it. You know? Stealing from me. You know? Eating and purging the food. I mean, it's okay to eat, but it's another thing when you're purging it after you ate it. All right. It got so bad, people, and I'll say it again, the fight would break out downstairs because she knew I'd have to come down there and deal with the crap. But it got to the point where I caught on to what she was doing. I said, fuck this crap. And I just wouldn't go downstairs. I would close the blinds. I would lock the balcony door. I'd pull down the curtains. And I just wouldn't go downstairs. It didn't matter what kind of fight broke out down there. But I didn't take the bait. Those are the people that get away with this crap. Those kind. Well, people like me have to clean up after them. And we're always crying. We're always crying. Because we don't have that, well, I work for the government. And somehow that makes me better than you. Right? Just remember that, little girl. I'm always going to be better than you, even though I can't even scratch my own ass.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not about Joan. But it is about Uncle John. Right? Because we're crying. We're still crying over what happened with Andre in January of 2013. We're still crying over on what's happening to my daughter right now in the here and now with no health care services. No dental services. And now we're crying on about Mr. Lace. Wondering if he's going to be beat up by his next owner. Because his next owner doesn't, his next owner, don't you be pooping on my desk here, Mr. Lace. His next owner won't realize what he has. What he has. See, Mr. Lace spent the first 6 weeks in the house. Uncle John used to get up in the morning and talk to Mr. Lace. I would talk to Mr. Lace. Right? John really liked Mr. Lace.
I'm not going to read a book at him.
See that, people? What a good bird. Don't you poo, Mr. Lace. Chickens, they don't know how to hold it in.
Hey, Mr. Lace, you want
Anyway,
some...
he's here today, probably gone tonight. I'm sure my landlord is feeling like me. Well, maybe not as
Mr. Wade.
drastic. I'm talking.
Look.
Yeah, that's a duck. Okay?
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate that the city is using him like this.
What are these?
I think it's uncalled for. I think the city, if they want to do some dirty work, I think they should just do it on their own. You know, man up, right? I don't think they should be using the landlord. And
Oh.
it's pretty apparent they don't care about anybody in this household, including the chickens.
Oh. Oh.
And I'm just going to keep making videos. Telling the story. The history of the nonprofit in the event of that the nonprofit does what it was designed to do, whether I'm alive or not. Right? That's what John would want. Right? He didn't stick it out all these years just to throw out the baby with the bathwater. Or the rooster.
Now look. Hey.
Okay, I'm going to let them outside now for a little while.
No, wait.
You get to go be free for a while, Mr. Lace.
Wait. I want